This is one of the biggest mysteries in all of Egyptology. In 1826, a stone sarcophagus was discovered in the Egyptian tomb of a man named Tutu. The strange thing about this sarcophagus was that it was completely black, unlike any other coffin ever found. But even stranger things would soon follow. You see, almost everyone who came into contact with the coffin met a horrible and untimely demise. The French engineer who found it, Giovanni Battista Belzoni, died of a sudden illness just 2 months later. The next year, the British Consul General in Egypt, William Bruce, opened the sarcophagus to find out what was inside. He found a mummified cat, and shortly thereafter died from a snakebite while trying to rescue a kitten that had fallen into a well. Then in 1903, a team of archaeologists led by Howard Carter reopened the coffin, only to discover that the mummified cat was actually a human mummy. And a few years later, Carter himself died at the age of 62 after contracting malaria from a mosquito bite. Even more strangely, many of the people who worked on excavating the site where the black coffin was found also died under mysterious circumstances. For example, there was a guy named Theodore M. Davis who died when his boat capsized on the Nile River. Then there was another guy named George A. Wainwright who died when he fell off a ladder while trying to get a better view of the hieroglyphics on the coffin. And there was even a woman named Margaret Murray who died when she accidentally pricked her finger on a piece of pottery that had been in the tomb. Now, obviously, these deaths can't all be put down to bad luck or coincidence. So what really happened here? Well, there are a couple of different theories. The first theory is that the black sarcophagus was cursed. Now, I know that curses are often depicted in movies and TV shows as being some kind of mystical force that can't possibly be real, but back in the 19th century, people were much more open to the idea of curses. In fact, curses were so common that newspapers would regularly publish stories about people who were supposedly cursed and the bizarre ways that they were meeting their ends. One such story told the tale of a man who was killed by a donkey that he had stolen from a Jewish family, which led to speculation that the family may have put a curse on him. Another story was about a guy who was struck by lightning while standing next to an old woman who had told him that she was going to curse him, and yet another was about a guy who was killed when his horse fell on top of him after he had made fun of a woman who had warned him not to mock her. So you can see why people at the time might have believed that the black sarcophagus was cursed. However, there's another explanation for all these deaths. You see, there's nothing in the archaeological record that suggests that Tut was particularly powerful or important. In fact, the only reason that we know anything about him at all is because he was buried with a sarcophagus that was made out of black granite instead of the usual white limestone. Black granite was a rare and expensive material, which may suggest that Tutu's was some kind of VIP, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he was a pharaoh or a high priest or somebody with special powers. However, black granite is also naturally radioactive, which may explain why so many people who came into contact with the sarcophagus died young and unexpectedly. I mean, radiation can cause cancer, which can lead to death, and it can also weaken the immune system, which can make people more susceptible to other kinds of illnesses and infections. In the end, we may never know exactly what caused all these deaths, but one thing is for sure: if curses are real, then whoever put that one on the black sarcophagus certainly did a number. So what do you think happened here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already.